Hi everyone and welcome. Today's episode is going to be a little different from my normal episodes because today's episode I'm going to take you to Bhutan. Well, I know for a lot of people who've been watching me regularly, you know that I've been I visited Bhutan. I did a video series about it. But Tejinder Amole asked me and he said, "Ma'am, could you make a full video on how to travel to Bhutan? Traveling costs, places to visit, special dishes or cuisines to try." So Tejinder, this episode is for you. I'm going to talk about how to get to Bhutan and what to do there, and it may not be perfect and maybe a lot of you have more tips and tricks, so you can write those in the comment section for Tejinder because he seems to want to kind of go and explore, and I know a lot of people want to go and explore after those videos that I did. So cool, check it out. Let's begin. Normally I have this, the moment a trip is planned, the first thing I do, and they have not paid me to say this, but the first thing I do is I buy a Lonely Planet. Now I don't know why, but I actually even buy a India Lonely Planet even though I'm Indian, because once I went to the northeast and there were a lot of things that even Indians don't know. A lot of people don't know that if you're from non-Naga, you need an inner permit to go into Kohima, not Dimapur, but in Dimapur you need to get an inner line permit. So all these small things, as a tourist, a lot of information is not really given. Of course you can go on YouTube and somebody will be talking about how to do what. So my first step in every journey is to go to a bookstore and just buy whichever country or whichever city I'm going to. I buy the Lonely Planet for that, and then I just read and get to know it. Although I have to say, even though I read the book before going, the book really I wasn't really able to understand what Bhutan was until I actually went. So don't just read the book and then not go because this is a great guide, especially for hotels, especially for travel tips. There are 3 ways to go to Bhutan. One is you do like a package. So you call your travel agency and then they'll have a package, and a lot of agencies have packages, and a lot of Bhutanese travel agents have tied up with your city agents, and they can give you a nice package. That's one way. Second way is that you basically book a ticket and you fly to Paro from Delhi, so there or Calcutta. So there is one flight from Delhi and one flight from Calcutta. There is no direct flight from Bombay, but there is a flight. So the direct way to reach Bhutan is through Delhi and Calcutta, or of course if you're in other countries, but I'm going to just talk to Indians right now because other nationalities have other rules for Bhutan and I don't know all of them, so I'm not going to talk about that because I'm Indian. So the way we did it was that we didn't go through a travel tour operator, and we didn't go through independently, just go and take it as it comes. We went through a local agent in Bhutan. So he kind of did everything for us. He booked a cab from Bagdogra airport. So all we had to do is book our tickets from Bombay to Bagdogra, and then as we landed, he had kind of booked our taxi from Bagdogra airport straight into Phuntsholing. Now Phuntsholing is basically literally they share a wall with India, and it's in Phuntsholing that you get your visas to enter in, your inner line permit, like I was saying for Nagaland. In Phuntsholing you get your permit to kind of go into the main part of Bhutan. So Phuntsholing is Bhutan. It was really interesting because India is very different from Bhutan. In India everyone drives in all directions, everyone does wrong side, but in Bhutan people are extremely strict. So our driver was breaking the rules. Now not our Bhutanese driver, our local driver, the Indian driver, was breaking rules in India, but in Bhutan he was following the rules. So it's very interesting. The Bhutan and India, just a wall, like dividing the country, but not even like such a big wall, you know, it's just like a house wall that's, and of course a beautiful gate that if you remember in the videos, there's a beautiful gate that you enter in and then you're like, this is Bhutan. It feels nice, it's nice. So yeah, so anyway, so we basically got a cab from a taxi from Bagdogra airport, and then we drove on the highway straight into Phuntsholing via different points. So this kind of bypasses all your, you know, like your other like hill stations and stuff. This is the same route. If you don't go into Bhutan, you can go to Darjeeling, you can go to Nepal, you can go to Siliguri. Like ideally, even if you're planning a trip to Darjeeling and all, Bagdogra airport is the place that you would probably, I think even Sikkim, yes, I think even Sikkim, which is like one of my desired next holidays, but I don't know when that's going to happen. So moving on, so we drove, it was like about a 4-hour drive into Bhutan, if I'm correct. It was a long drive, and some parts the roads aren't very great, but some parts the roads are fantastic. You go through the tea estates, and that part is really nice. It's very beautiful. Generally speaking, the Phuntsholing is literally at the foothills of Bhutan. So we reached there in the evening after arriving. So we left in the morning from Bombay, and we arrived Bhutan in the afternoon, like early evening, and we then rested. We were staying in a very nice hotel. So there in the hotel, I realized that there were a lot of tour guides that were bringing, I think Thomas Cook has some deal, and Make My Trip has some deal, and so the agents then will round up like a family or maybe 5 families who come together on a holiday, and they're given a package. So like a lot of times what happens is, if you go abroad, if you want to like have your Indian food, then you go for these packages. Now we didn't do that because we went through a local Bhutanese guy, because we were very keen on doing the whole you know, the whole cultural experience of food. Now for a lot of people who know me, I'm hardcore non-veg, and unfortunately the weeks that I went to Bhutan, Bhutan had a 1 month fast from non-veg. So in that month you're not allowed to eat meat. So I almost fainted, because it was like I had gone to Bhutan thinking, I'll eat this meat, I'll eat that meat, I'll eat this meat. But yeah, so I got the vegetarian version of Bhutan. Meat is generally, because it's an auspicious month, they kind of go off meat, but otherwise Bhutan has all the meat, like you'd name it, and one of the most delicious meats I've ever eaten in my life. Of course, I had this in boarding school, not when I went there, is yak meat. So so that was nice. I never got to try all that when I was in the country, but yes. So coming back to the food, generally if you don't like cheese, Bhutan is, the cuisine will not really be palatable for you. So pack your Indian dals and ready-made food and all, because, and if you love cheese like me, oh, Bhutan is like a paradise, because almost everything has cheese in it. And basically there is the 3 things that are Kewadatsi, Shamadatsi, and what is the other one? Kewadatsi, Shamadatsi, and Emadatsi. Okay, so Emadatsi is chili and cheese, Kewadatsi is potato and cheese, and Shamadatsi is mushrooms and cheese. These are divine, and normally rice is the staple. So they normally have rice. Now, generally I would say if you are like a chapati person and you're dying for chapatis and dal and sabzi, just like I'm more hardcore, I would say don't travel, just be at home. But if that is what you have, there are Indian options. A lot of Bhutanese cities cater to Indian food as well. But generally speaking, like I remember we were in Trongsa, and Trongsa is quite inside, like it's quite It's like the central part of Bhutan. So so my husband is from Hyderabad, so they're like very into curd rice. So I remember we were in the hotel and I was trying to get Wi-Fi, and I heard somebody saying, "Do you have curd? Do you have curd?" And I looked at him and I said, "Are you from Hyderabad?" And he was like, "Yes, how do you know?" I was like, "Well, only Hyderabadis can ask for curd in, well, not all Hyderabadis. I know Hyderabadis are very adventurous also, but it was really funny." So generally, your staples like curd and all, it's not very common. A lot of the food that we are used to eating will not be there. Because I have friends in Bhutan, I know the kind of meat that is also served. Bhutanese food is actually not very spicy. They do have little spice, but it's like in terms of spice levels, like I feel like Naga food and Manipuri and Mizo food is a lot more spicy. I'm getting hungry right now. But what I found with Bhutanese food is they are very healthy. Even the meat has vegetables in it. So like I cook a lot of Bhutanese recipes, and even my chicken pa or my pork pa, all of it has like cabbage and carrots and capsicum and like a lot of heavy vegetable in your base of your curry. So food wise, I think that covers it. In Phuntsholing, there are more restaurants for to cater to Indian people, but when you get more into places like Paro and Thimphu, that would be a little harder to find. Although Thimphu is a city, so you'll have a lot of options. But yeah, don't go into a new country and then want to eat your kind of food. Like, don't go and want tandoori chicken in Bhutan. Like I always tell people, like, just leave your culture behind and go and learn about a new culture. So that's more about food. Then what happened? So in Phuntsholing, you have to get your visas. Now, maybe we just went on a wrong day, but it was very chaotic. It was like, so they were renovating a building. So it was like worse than Bombay rush hour, the visa office. And it was just prep yourself and prepare yourself for rush. If you don't get rush, that's fantastic. I did meet some tourists who didn't have a rush in the visa office. So that was really good. But definitely if you're going during summer and it's season time, a lot of tourists come for just going into Paro, going into Thimphu and then returning back. So the visa office experience wasn't great, but that process, just leave a whole morning for that. Like, it took us, I think it started at 10 and then by 2 or something we were ready to kind of, with our visas, and go into main Bhutan. Now, a very, very important thing, what I did, and again this is advice that people gave me, get a SIM card in Bhutan. Because what happens is you just need your, you can get a tourist SIM card, and you just need to pay, I think it was 100 rupees or something to get a SIM card, and then you can kind of put money in, like, recharge your phone. And it really helped, because whenever we wanted to call a hotel or our friends or a restaurant, we didn't have to call international. So I just put my SIM card away and I used a Bhutanese number for the whole period that I was there. So that was a tip that I would always want to tell people, even foreign nationals. All you have to do is just submit your documents. They'll take a photocopy of it and then they will give you a SIM card. So it's fantastic. So that's an important tip. So from Phuntsholing, so now because we took a taxi, there are local options of transportation, but I didn't really see much, like in terms of buses and all. I didn't really see a large populace of buses. Most people travel by taxis or vans or mini buses that they have hired. So you can't, it's not like you go to Manali and you go on a bus and, it's not so, like, the public transport is not very common. That's why I say go with a tour operator, because he will guide you about all of these things. So we, of course, then we were given we were given the best he was not a, it was he was like our tour guide and driver, and he kind of took us through our whole journey in Bhutan, Singye, and it was really really nice with him. We had a really nice car. I don't remember which one, but really fancy car, very 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 comfortable. Very good for the roads, because the roads there are points where they're still constructing the road, and so the roads are little, of course, landslides. So in mountains you have to be ready for conditions to change like randomly. Like when we were going from Phuntsholing to Paro, there was a small waterfall that became a crazy waterfall, and I was like so scared, but it was really beautiful also. But on the way back, that waterfall was just a very trickly waterfall. So especially in hills and mountains, the road and the state of the road really changes with the state of the road changes with the land. So once we reached Paro, we stayed in a hotel, but because of the rush, we could only stay in that hotel for one day. So after that, we stayed in one of our friends' hotels. So make sure you book your hotel in advance, because like I said, there's a lot of rush. Especially tourists are always wanting to stay in really nice hotels. Generally, hotels are not very expensive. Of course, if you're going for a 4-star or 5-star kind of experience. But I would always recommend to stay in a heritage, like one of my friends has like a Gangte Palace is like a heritage. It's like a palace. So you stay in the palace, and you feel the culture in a very authentic way. So I would always recommend, at least even if it is for a night or 2 nights, or like a weekend, you must like embrace the culture beautifully. Of course, there are very very nice hotels. This will help you even if you're like I feel like you need a tour guide even if you have this, because we had like a Singye helping us through it. Expenses are per your tour guide. So if like he will come up with a package including the hotel, including the travel. So he will sum up a big amount, and then you just give it to him, and then you don't have to worry about anything. I would highly recommend this way, because Bhutan is not an easy I have a few friends who've traveled to Bhutan like without the help of a tour guide, and they've managed as well. The guys who want to hike, guys who just they know their itinerary. If that is what you want to do, then that is also possible. It's not impossible to go to Bhutan without a guide. But I was with family, like I was with my parents, I was with my daughter, so not having to worry about where will we stay, what will we eat, where will we go, what will we see. That part was like very very nice. A lot of sites are not paid, like you don't have to pay to enter the site. Some like museum and all we had to pay, but it's not very expensive. But the zongs are free, like you can just enter the zong, and my favorite zongs, I love the zongs. If you're not a road person, if you don't like being in a car often, like it's very tough for people who don't like being on the road all the time. We did not calculate how much we would be on the road and how much we would be driving around the country. We really spent more time in the car than we did looking at the sites. So that is something that you should be prepared about when you do go to Bhutan. Always carry like a set of warm clothes, because the weather does change. Like we were there during summer, but it rained, it got cold, it got hot, it got cold, it rained, it got cold. So the weather really changed very dramatically in the course of those days that we were there. Also, when you, like for example, Punakha is warm, so we didn't need any jackets there. But the moment we went into Bumtang, it got cold. So it's beautiful, it's nice to like experience a country like that. If you want to see the festivals and all that, then you should go around October, November. That's when all the colorful and vibrant festivals are there. I didn't get to see that, but someday if I go again. But one thing is for sure, that if I ever go again to Bhutan, I am not going to Phuntsholing. I am going to go straight to Delhi or Calcutta, and I'm going to go like and fly straight into Paro because I can't deal with the driving. It was so much. I can deal with short driving, so Paro to Thimphu is okay. Even Thimphu to Punakha is still bearable. But we did not calculate the, how much. So we basically did Phuntsholing to Paro, Paro to Thimphu, Thimphu to Punakha, and then we spent, I think, a night there, 2 nights there, and then we went to Yangtze, the valley, Wangju Valley and all, to the Black Crane. And after that, so we broke our journey, and then after that we went to Trongsa, and after Trongsa we went to Bhutan. So now what had happened was, we were supposed to actually drive back, but the roads were so bad, and there were landslides, and I was just like, I really needed to just travel back by plane. So there are 2 airports in Bhutan that I know of. I think there are 2 airports, Paro Airport and Bumthang Airport. Bumthang doesn't have international flights, but you arrive into Paro, and then from Paro you can do a connecting flight to Bumthang. So when you're in Phuntsholing, you get a visa to go to Paro and Thimphu. If you want to extend your trip go deeper into Bhutan, you have to get a extra visa for extending your trip. So you get a limited visa for tourists who just want to do a short trip and come back. If you want to extend it, then that office is in Thimphu. You can't go anywhere, you have to go to Thimphu. So we wanted to actually go from Paro straight to Punakha, which would have been shorter, but we had to go to Thimphu to get extended visas for the rest of our trip, and then we could proceed to Punakha. So be very, very conscious of the visas. If you're not going through a tour guide will help you and guide you with all of that. But if you're not going through a tour guide, which I would really not recommend, so another very important thing is cash. So when you go into Bhutan, you may see in your Visa or MasterCard, it'll say not viable in Bhutan and Nepal. So what happens is a lot of cards don't work in Bhutan and Nepal, and a lot of ATMs don't accept it. So what happened to us was that we had to carry cash with us everywhere we went. So we didn't feel like we didn't actually need to change money, because the Indian money was also accepted, but there are no ATMs. Unlike in India where there's an ATM with every pan shop, there are very, very few ATMs, and your card may not actually work in those ATMs. So carry enough cash with you, so you can. So a lot of people, what they do is they pay their tour operators in advance. So you pay through your NEFT or whatever transfer. So your tour is paid for before you even start. Bhutan is not although Indians a lot of Indians treat Bhutan like a hill station, but it is not like a hill station. It's a completely different world. It's a completely different country, completely different language. Many people speak Hindi, and many speak, a lot of Nepalis also speak Hindi. A lot of Bhutanese people also know Hindi. Looking at the money part, the budget, the visas, getting your own phone connection, getting a tour guide just to be safe, or going with a travel and tours team. But if you are a hardcore Indian and you can't live without your dal and chawal, and of course there's rice there, but if you can't live without your curd and your, then just carry your own food. I know he's no more anymore, but I had a producer and director friend who used to carry theplas and all his food on shoots. He didn't have clothes much. He would have a kurta pajama, but he had mostly theplas and his chawal and sabzi and all packed in those Ashirwad packets. So food is different, but I am a complete Bhutanese food lover. So I would say that when I did go to Bhutan, I did see why people call Bhutan the happiest place on earth. It really was a happy place for us. So thanks for joining me in this, and I hope this helped you. I hope Tejinder, this has helped you also get an idea. Sorry I can't give you more costs, but flight tickets and all that you can figure out. I will leave Singye's details the guy who was driving us around below. So for you guys who are planning to go to Bhutan, you can get in touch with them and go. But it is a country you should see at least once before you die. Like it is really a wonderful experience. So thanks again for joining me. I will see you soon in my next video. Bye.